Hello everyone, I wish to give you a warm welcome to this YouTube channel. And today we would like to have a discussion of a renowned play, Lwanda Magere. The play written by Okoiti Omtata, the Kenyan upcoming playwright and one of the Kenyan writers who has won several prizes regarding writing competition in Kenya. This play was published in 1991. The play was set in Kenya, and the publishers of this play are East Africa Educational Publishers Limited. Well, as far as this session is concerned, I wish to present to you the synopsis or the play summary and a plot of this play. Plot summary, or the summary of this particular play. Long ago, there were many battles in between the Lango and the Luo. Lango warriors terrorized the Luo, and with each defeat, the Luo were further shamed and constantly defeated. Dignity was restored only by the emergence of the hero Lwanda Magere. In one battle after another, this skilled warrior led the Luo to victory against their enemies. Because of his courage and prowess in war, many women were attracted to him, and he captured some of his wives from vanquished enemies. All in all, he had 25 wives, including Lango and Luo wives. That is to say, Lwanda Magere's fame made him to have many wives from different tribes. For years, he successfully led the Luo against the Lango, and the Lango sought ways to overcome him. Lango elders deliberated long and finally had a solution. As a gesture of peace and friendship, they offered Lwanda Magere a wife, a beautiful Lango princess. But her true mission was to discover the strength of Lwanda Magere and to report this to her people. Luo elders pleaded with Lwanda Magere not to accept the wife, but Lwanda Magere was not ready to accept their wise advice. Listeners, Lwanda Magere finally married the princess, who later on succeeded to reveal the secret of her society, and that was the end of the legend Lwanda Magere. Remember, this story is equated to a biblical most famous story, the story about Samson and Delilah. Plot of this play. Lwanda Magere is a 6-scene play with 2 divisions or sections, namely reaping and sowing. This play is mainly about the great warrior Lwanda Magere. It presents an antagonistic relationship between 2 communities, namely Luo and Lango. The root cause of this enmity between the 2 societies is domination. Remember, this is a traditional story reflecting the ancient societies in Africa, and domination was the most leading factor regarding societal fighting. The Lango people dominated the Luo for a long time. As a result, the Luo starts praying day and night so that one day God may provide their redemption. God at last gives Luo people a savior. Who is this savior? Lwanda Magere. The play involves flashback when the princess ran away from Lwanda Magere and reported her mission to Lango's tribe elders. This reflected the planning of the mission to trick Lwanda Magere through pretending. That's to say, the Lango princess is a good pretender in love relationship. Dear listeners, the storyteller tells us that the Luo people are tired of being tortured by Lango people. Spiritually, they plead their God to liberate them. God answers their prayers. He promises them that a barren woman will conceive and out of her womb will be born a savior, who is Lwanda Magere. The voice says that Lwanda will be a threat to the enemies. At last, Lwanda Magere is born. He starts his work of liberating Luo people. He is very courageous and strong, determined to save his people. He promises his people that he will live to fulfill his duties as a savior. Dear listeners, the priest visits the king of Luo to inform him about the trap prepared for Lwanda, as he is worried with Lwanda Magere's tragic flaws or weaknesses. Remember, this is a tragic play, and Lwanda Magere is endowed with tragic flaws or weaknesses. What are those Lwanda Magere's weaknesses? They include going to the war in daylight, despite having been warned by the priest. And that is an indicator that Lwanda Magere eventually digs the grave of his own destruction. The priest also tells the king about the plan for Lango people to use a woman to trap Lwanda Magere. In fact, Lwanda Magere is very fond of women. That is to say, Lwanda Magere is a womanizer. The priest says that the oracle has warned that Lwanda Magere should not marry the woman. The priest advises the king to call Lwanda Magere to talk to him about the issue. And again, Lwanda Magere is warned by his wife Mikai about marrying the Lango daughter. Lwanda Magere refuses his wife's advice by believing that his wife is jealous. Remember, dear listeners, these are some tragic weaknesses of Lwanda Magere. The messenger is sent to Lwanda Magere by the king to call him regarding his marriage to the Lango daughter. Lwanda Magere appears in front of the king and his chief councils. He is questioned about his marriage to the Lango princess, and he eventually accepts. They urge Lwanda Magere to stop his plan to marry the girl because the oracle has warned so. In a surprising way, Lwanda Magere does not take attention of what he is advised. He is still adamant. He is still arrogant. Lwanda Magere is very arrogant to both his elders and the leaders. Dear listeners, the priest predicts Lwanda Magere's death, a tragic death, if he goes against the oracle's order. This is an indicator of foreshadowing because actually death must visit Lwanda Magere at the end. Lango princess is now at Lwanda Magere's home. She is already his wife. That is to say, Lwanda Magere has married the Lango's daughter, the Lango's princess. She remembers what her people told her to do in order to charm Lwanda Magere. As we know, men are weak to women. She then sets her strategies to succeed toward her mission. The Lango's daughter, and her life is terrible among Luo people. She is rejected by everyone except Lwanda. She lives a hypocritical type of life as she pretends to love Lwanda Magere very much. But remember, this was a trick to bring Lwanda Magere down. The woman slowly starts finding out what is the secret behind Lwanda Magere's success in war. She does that very skillfully, though Lwanda Magere realizes his wife's inquiry. He scolds her so that she may stop doing that. Is Lwanda Magere going to manage stopping his wife from discovering his secret? Let us continue, dear listeners. The last scene opens with the chiefs gathering at Lango King Palace. What is that very vital and important issue are they going to discuss? Well, the king is very happy. His happiness is due to the result of discovering Lwanda Magere's secrets after coming back of their daughter, the Lango princess. The princess narrates how she managed to make Lwanda Magere reveal his life mystery. She tells the king and the chiefs about her persuasion, which she used to make Lwanda drink alcohol while he was forbidden. In that way, he could reveal the secret of his strength. She completed her mission by trying to make incisions on the shadow. This is how the princess came to know that Lwanda's life is in his shadow. The Lango people immediately plan going to war so that they can kill Lwanda Magere, the center of their troubles. The Lango know that the Luo would not expect them to attack as Lwanda had married one of them, making them kinsmen. They then and eventually attack the Luo at the mid of the night. The Luo fight fiercely, and Lwanda carries so many Lango warriors that they decide to retreat. As he is running, one Lango warrior remembers that Lwanda's strength is in his shadow. He stands at a hill and throws his spear at Lwanda's shadow. Lwanda Magere falls down and dies. Dear listeners, this marks the end of the plot summary of this play. Thank you very much for listening to this plot summary and the introduction of this play. The coming session, dear listeners, will be all about the discussion of the play title Lwanda Magere and some other literary devices or techniques, the use of figures of speech employed by the playwright. Thank you very much for maximum attention. Don't forget to subscribe to this particular channel for more literature lessons. Thank you very much.